I was 17 the night my mother died. I still remember the way she clenched my hand, her grip weak, her breath shallow. "Amaka, don't stop praying," she whispered. "No matter what happens, always pray." I nodded, but inside I was screaming. Prayers didn't work. Not when we needed them the most. Not when my mother had been lying in that hospital bed for weeks. Her body was eaten up by sickness, while the doctors demanded money we didn't have. I had prayed. Every single night, I begged God to heal her, but He didn't. And that night, as I watched her take her last breath, I decided that prayers were useless. My name is Amaka, and this is the story of how I lost my faith and found it again. After my mother died, everything fell apart. My father had left when I was little, and now I had no one. A little backstory of my mother's illness. She fell in the bathroom one morning while she was about to start having her bath, and that was how this cursed illness that later took her life started. Our neighbors in our face me I slap you rooms helped me put her in a taxi, and off we went to the hospital, knowing that she wouldn't return back home alive. The illness took everything we had, but the doctors didn't find anything wrong with her, and this I found the strangest, even after her death. My uncle took me in, but his wife made it clear that I was not welcome. We had our own children to take care of, she would say, loud enough for me to hear. I was given a small mat to sleep on in the corridor and a plate of food only when there was enough to spare. All her children were going to school, but I couldn't go to school every day because I wasn't her child. Instead, I would babysit her children and even take them to school and pick them up after school. Then I will go to school only on days when she feels like they were important to be at school, like Monday and Tuesdays. In her words, every other school day was a waste of time for me. Not only was I not properly fed and malnourished, I had to do a lot of unsuitable work for kids my age in their home. I was the first to wake up and the last to sleep. Every single day I lived with them, and if I made any mistake, my aunt would pounce on me like a wounded lion. She would scream at me at the top of her voice and deal blows to different parts of my body, making sure I had visible injuries, and in her words, those injuries make sure I remember what I had done. This is not life, I would say to myself sometimes. I stopped praying completely. What was the point? If God existed, He had already forgotten me. One evening, after washing plates, I overheard my uncle and his wife saying, "She has finished secondary school. What will she do now? We cannot afford another mouth to feed." "There is one man," his wife said, Alhaji Musa. "He's looking for a second wife. He will pay well." My heart stopped. I knew Alhaji Musa. He was a rich man in our neighborhood, old enough to be my grandfather. I had seen his wife once, her face always hidden behind the veil, her eyes full of sadness. That night I couldn't sleep. The next morning I packed my few belongings and ran away. Lagos is not kind to the desperate. I thought I could find work, maybe as a housemaid or a shop girl. But the city is full of girls like me, girls with no family, no money, and nowhere to go. For weeks, I slept in an abandoned building with other homeless girls. Hunger became my constant companion. Sometimes I went days without food. I learned to drink water to fill my stomach. I learned to ignore the men who looked at me like I was something they could buy. And one night, something went wrong. I was walking back to the abandoned house when a car pulled up beside me. The man inside smiled. "You look hungry. Come, let me buy you food." I knew better. I had seen other girls get into cars like that and never return. But that night, the hunger was too much. My legs were shaking, my head spinning, so I got in. The man took me to a restaurant and bought me rice and meat. I ate like an animal, stuffing food in my mouth, not caring that he was watching me. When I was done, he smiled again. "You follow me home now." I froze, but he grabbed my wrist. "You think anything is free in this life?" Panic shot through me. I tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. People in the restaurant looked at us, but no one did anything. No one ever does. As he dragged me outside, I did the one thing I could. I closed my eyes and whispered, God, please help me. At that moment, a loud voice shouted, Amaka! I turned and saw a woman standing across the street. I didn't know her, but she was working towards us with purpose. Her face set in danger. What are you doing with my sister? She demanded. The man let go of my wrist. She's your sister? Yes, and if you don't leave her alone, I will scream. The man hesitated, then cursed under his breath and walked away. The woman grabbed my hand. Come with me. Her name was Mama Nkechi. She took me to her small shop and gave me food. Where is your family? She asked. Tears filled my eyes. I have no one. She sighed and she shook her head. You have God, and He sent me to you tonight. I wanted to argue to tell her that God had abandoned me long ago, but I couldn't. No, after what had just happened. Mama Nkechi let me stay in her shop. She gave me a job selling provisions, and for the first time in months, I had a safe place to sleep. Every morning she would pray, and every morning she would ask me to join her. At first I refused, but one day I sat with her as she prayed. Her words were simple, honest. She thanked God for another day, asked for strength, and prayed for those who were suffering. When she finished, she looked at me. You should pray too, Amaka, even if it's just a few words. I shook my head. God doesn't listen to me. She smiled. He does. He listened when you called out to him that night, and he sent me. Something in my heart shifted. That night, for the first time in a long time, I whispered a prayer. It wasn't much, just a quiet thank you. Months passed. I worked hard in the shop, saved money, and even started going to church with Mama Kitchen. Slowly, I began to believe again, not in the loud dramatic way some people do, but in small moments, like the kindness of a stranger, the warmth of food in my stomach, the safety of a locked door at night. Then one day, my past caught up with me. I was sweeping outside the shop when a car parked right in front of me. My uncle stepped out, his eyes widened when he saw me. Amaka, is this where you have been? Do you know how much trouble you cost us? Fear rushed through me. I wanted to run, but my feet wouldn't move. You belong with your family, he said. Come home. I looked at him, and this was the same man who was ready to sell me off like a puppet. And then I heard Mama Nkechi's voice behind me. She has a home now and a family. My uncle's face twisted with anger. This is none of your business. Mama Nkechi stepped beside me. Oh, but it is, because I prayed for this girl and God does not abandon the ones he loves. For the first time in my life, I saw fear in my uncle's eyes. He looked at me one last time, then got back into his car and drove off. I turned to Mama Nkechi, my heart pounding. What if he comes back? She took my hands and squeezed them. Then we would pray and God will fight for us. It has been 5 years since that day. Life is never easy, but I know one thing for sure. Prayer changes things. If you're struggling, if you feel like you lost, if you think no one is listening, don't stop praying. Even in your darkest moments, God is there. He's listening, and when you least expect it, He will answer you in ways you never imagined. I still have scars. I still have bad days, but I'm free. Not because of luck, but because of prayers. Because God never left me. And if you're reading this, feeling lost, feeling broken, I want you to know this. God sees you, God hears you, and if He saved me, He can save you too.